Welcome to Your Pharmacy Career Podcast, proudly produced by Ravens Recruitment, the experts in pharmacy career and locum services for over 30 years. Every episode is your gateway to new opportunities in the pharmacy profession. From expert advice to inspiring success stories, we're here to spark ideas, guide your career, and help you achieve your goals. Stay tuned. The next step in your pharmacy journey starts here.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Pharmacy Career Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Christy Lee Patterson, and this podcast is all about sharing the real career journeys of pharmacists right across Australia. Today, I'm joined by Ellen Bolger-Rowe, a final year pharmacy student at Sturt University, who has spent more than a decade working in community pharmacy. She's had a unique journey throughout her time in pharmacy and outside of pharmacy, and she is also the secretary of the National Australian Pharmacy Students Association. Ellen, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Christy, for having me. This is very exciting.
Now, Ellen, I ask everyone the same question at the beginning of each podcast, and it's, why did you decide to become a pharmacist? But I think your answer may be a little bit different because you decided to become a pharmacist twice, I think.
Yes, that is correct. So when I was in high school, so this is going back quite a while now, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually think I originally wanted to do physio around that time of like year 10. And then at this time, I was working as a junior pharmacy assistant at a local pharmacy in Bathurst where I was doing my high school. And then I think I just got to year 12 and I don't know, someone was like, oh, just go for early entry. I was like, okay, cool, I'll go for early entry. I got early entry into pharmacy, but then took a gap year. So that was like the first initiation. And without going into too many details just yet, I didn't complete university at that particular time. I did take some time off because originally when I was like 5 years old, I wanted to be a dancer. So I started pharmacy, did a little bit of it, and then took a break and then went and did performing arts and a whole bunch of other things, and then came back to studying in 2023. So it was like a full decade between starting the first time and starting the second time. So to really answer your question as to why pharmacy, I think I've always been a personal health professional, basically. Like how this kind of looks is I love talking to people. I love helping people discover their love for themselves and their love for looking after themselves. And I love to bring that out in people and educate them and help them on their health journeys. So I think that's the real reason why pharmacy.
Well, I think that's a wonderful reason when you think about it. So yeah, with your journey, you started out working in pharmacy as a junior, and yeah, someone said early entry, sounds great, and you got in, but then you decided to focus on your dancing career, which is really cool. But when you made that decision to leave, that wouldn't have been an easy decision, right? Because I'm sure you would have had your own doubts, like, oh, should I be doing this? Should I just stick with this and finish it? I'm sure people gave you a lot of advice whether you wanted it or not. So how did you come up to that first decision?
So the decision to leave the degree on I was going to say definitely not the second time because I haven't left the degree yet, but the decision to leave the degree in 2015 was based around, I guess, a heap of mental health as well. And I'm very happy to talk about this because it's something that hits a lot of young people. And even as we're older as well, thoughts start to pop into your head, things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, I'm not smart enough. Like that was definitely one of the things that popped into my head quite frequently because I was just passing some of the subjects at the time. And although I did actually take a gap year, so I finished school in 2011, I took a gap year and I did a bit of my Highland dancing career overseas, and then started in 2013 as a first year pharmacy student in Orange. Again, I think it's that young mentality of like you've got your freedoms, but like so many things happen in first year. I don't think my mind was coping that well without knowing that that's what was going on. Like I think I was just kind of going through all the motions thinking this is what I have to do. Like I remember having to pick the things that you wanted to do when you finished high school, and it was like almost like the end of the world if you didn't have a plan.
Yes. I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, and I think so many people can relate to that. Like whether it's like whether your parents were really helpful and like and actually helped you create what you wanted to do, but what you wanted to do, or whether your parents said, I think you should do this, and you just kind of go with it. I genuinely think that that's where my mind went. Like I've been working in pharmacy since I was 14. So at this particular point, I would have been 17, 18, making these decisions. So I was 18 for my gap year. I was one of those people that like I graduated high school at 17. So like, life began at 18.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah. And that's so daunting. Like I see that in a lot of university students now. Like they're coming to university because they've finished high school in Queensland, for example, and they're still 16 to turn 17, and they're just so young. And like, don't get me wrong, there's so many students out there that know exactly what they want to do. But with that, there's more students that are still unsure, or they didn't hit the mark of what they wanted to get into. Yeah, like I think where I'm coming from is quite complex because I did dance as a HSC subject. I did biology as a HSC subject. So I had both of those worlds still, I guess, balancing on scales. And it's like, which one do I pick? And I wasn't doing mainstream dancing at the time. I was doing Highland dancing, which is so not mainstream. And for those listening, Highland and Irish are very different.
Yes,
so
they are.
I really recommend looking both of them up. Highland dancing, you can perform on world stages quite frequently. I'm not too sure about the Irish dancing, but yeah, Highland dancing's more my forte.
So it sounds like you were at almost a little bit of a crossroads. So you had maybe, let's call it the two personas of Ellen, the pharmacy persona and the dancing persona. And when you're that young and you're making that decision, it almost feels like, well, if I choose one path and not the other, I can't come back. And whether or not you felt like that, but I know I've felt like that in the past. Like I've done multiple degrees and done multiple different things before I found pharmacy. And yeah, sometimes think, oh, but if I move off this path of pharmacy, I'm not going to be able to come back. And I even still today have sometimes that thought in my mind as well with what I'm doing. So how did you, I guess, blend the two? I think you did a really good job of blending the two. So talk me through that.
Yeah, of course. So to do a little backtrack, like I've obviously left the degree in 2015, like completely cut ties, but I'm still working in the pharmacy as a Webster technician at this point. So I've quit being the casual pharmacy assistant as a pharmacy student, and I'm now working like part-time basically as a Webster technician. So during that time I decided to dance overseas. So every year I would go with a team overseas and we would perform in a military tattoo or an international tattoo where I'm performing in front of thousands of people per night as part of a unique team doing a unique style of dance. So I've found, and my workplace was amazing at the time too as well. Like they were very accommodating for these passions of mine, and I'm thoroughly grateful for the workplaces I've been in that have allowed me to keep exploring my dancing. And so as that's kind of progressed a bit more, the ignition of wanting to do more styles of dance have sort of sat and simmered in the background. So when I got to 2017, 2018, actually, let's backtrack another year, 2016, I've applied to do a Bachelor of Social Science Psychology, and I've completed a whole year in that where I've done a lot. So, yeah, and in that particular degree, I've done a lot better than I did in pharmacy. Like I was getting distinctions in my subjects. So, but this kind of age range was around that 21, 22, 23 kind of age bracket. So early 20s, still in that process of self-discovery. But the fact that I'm doing better in these subjects like made me feel a little bit like I wasn't stupid, because I was feeling stupid only just passing some of my subjects in the pharmacy. And even like I'd go to NAPSA Congress back in 2014 and I remember people talking about, pharmacy 101 and how they got a HD. And I'm like, oh, I just passed that. Like, I don't understand, like, what's wrong with me kind of thing. So backtracking a little bit and trying to blend in this dance side of things, like I was speaking to someone that my mother got me in contact with. She was a psychologist at the hospital and like she was into dancing and stuff like that. And she was like, when you're studying, you need to be studying in a way that like fits in with your lifestyle. Like you need to be moving while you're studying. You need to be, stretching, like doing these sorts of things. So you're not feeling like you're stuck and limited in one spot. So that's a tool to try and blend like everything together, because I'm not a stationary person. I like to move. I like to be fit and healthy. I like to dance. When I don't dance, my body gets very irritable, and it's very evident in like the people that are immediately around me. They're wrong with you. I'm sorry, I just can't sit still. Yes. So blending, the start of blending my dancing and my pharmacy really started with my bosses and like allowing me to do both, right? And yes, I wasn't studying at the time, but still being able to practice in a pharmacy setting as an assistant. Then when I decided around 2018 that I had enough of pharmacy and I just wanted to get out. I wanted to get out. Like there was no career progression anymore. I still sat in pharmacy. I was actually doing more Websters. So this almost turned into a full-time job. But I decided to do like community theatre. And oh my God, I fell in love with everything all over again. Like people were telling me like amazing things about me and like boosting my self-confidence up, which had definitely taken a hit from, doing something like starting a career in pharmacy and then going, wow, like I have to get out of this. And then thinking that that was the only career choice I had. So going from that to people actually telling you, hey, you should give this a shot. You should go and try performing arts. So then getting some amazing mentors in that space, and they've encouraged me to go to Sydney and do an advanced diploma of performing arts. So at this particular point, I'm like, wow, okay, let's try. Like I have low like self inhibition at the moment. So I'm thinking like, how do I do this? I don't know what to do. Like I remember my first audition, like I auditioned for Brent Street and I didn't get the best vibe for me, right? I'm definitely at this point, I'm 25, 26. So I'm a lot older than a lot of those people that are coming straight out of school and going straight into performing arts. Like my body does not work the same as an 18-year-old.
Yes, a little bit different, yes.
So I'm entering this industry a lot later, and there's still so many self-doubt things going through my brain because like mentors that I had when I was younger were like, don't dance, like go and get a degree in something and use your brain because you're not stupid. But then I felt stupid because I wasn't passing everything. So it just became this vicious circle of just all this negative self-talk that was going on in my head. And you're trying to be positive. Like you're trying to be positive, and then you're listening to other people being like, hey, you sing amazingly. And then you listen to yourself sing and you're like,
what?
You're okay? Like, is that what you're hearing? Like, so there's so many of those self-doubts going through your brain. Anyway, I've auditioned for this place that does a bit of everything. So dancing, singing, acting at this place called 85 International, and that's in North Strathfield. And I got in. And I think like I take a lot of pride in the fact that I did get into something in 2019. Like I remember getting that acceptance letter and being like, oh, thank goodness. Like I can go and get all of this out of my system now. And it was hard. Like I've moved to Sydney 2020 and we all know what 2020 was like. No one talks about 2020 anymore, but like you moved to Sydney and there was just so much freshness about it. I did get a job in pharmacy at the time and they wanted me to do extra stuff. They were like, oh, you can work in sleep apnea. You can do this, you can do that. But like my passion now was to do performing arts. So I had to start to step away from pharmacy. And at this point, like I had been working in pharmacy from 2008 until I left in like January 2020, like my job that I had been at with my first employer. Then have gone to this new pharmacy, and they basically don't want me to be studying a performing arts diploma and want me to be working in pharmacy. So that was when I kind of went, I need to step out of this. So I actually quit pharmacy for a whole year. One whole year. That's all it took. One whole year. 2021. I focused on my second year of my performing arts diploma, but I got to halfway through the end, like this is because it's a 2-year diploma. I got halfway through the second year and I was so over it. Like, I'm so grateful for the skills that I had and developed on in this 2-year diploma. But I was like, I don't want to work on a cruise ship. Like, I want to move back to the country. I want to have a quieter life.
Especially post-COVID, right? We all know what happened with the
I think
cruise
everyone wanted
ships.
to move to the country, to be honest, like get away from people. Yeah, so that's a lot of where my passion, I think, started. Like my passion for being in a rural and regional setting was so much more emphasized from having lived in the city for 2 years. So when I moved back out to the country, like I actually did some background filming extra work sort of thing while I was working in a pharmacy, because funnily enough, I went, I need a full-time job now that I've just spent 2 years in Sydney and now I have no money.
Yes.
So I've applied to one of the local pharmacies because I've moved back to Bathurst, and I applied to another pharmacy that I saw was hiring because my previous employer wasn't hiring at the time, and I got full-time work. And this pharmacy was like so instrumental at bringing me back into the industry. I did have a mentor at my previous work who was like, oh, you should go back into pharmacy. And I just flat out said no to her. Yeah, I think took it very lightly, but was quite excited when I did eventually tell her that I was no longer I was no longer going to go down the performing arts diploma. Like, she was very excited to hear me coming back to pharmacy. So that kind of gave me a bit of a boost, and I think her a boost as well. But it's all about the people that are behind you, I think, in those steps coming back into pharmacy. And this pharmacy that does so well in Bathurst has like encouraged me, and they trained me in Medisca. They put everything into me to do like sleep apnea training, and now I'm so much more comfortable talking to health professionals that aren't just other pharmacists, like doctors, sleep technicians that are at the hospital. It really reignited a lot of passion. And I still, like, within the first 6 months of working in that pharmacy, I was like, no, I'm not going back to pharmacy. No matter what you guys say to me, I'm not going back to the degree. Then I think one day I just kind of, I sat on it for a little bit. I was like, oh, like, to be honest, the mental health thing like kicked in because I was standing at the back counter, like helping customers, but I can't fully help them because I'm not a fully qualified pharmacist. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I can do so much more than this. Like, I'm going to be so bored if this is my job for the rest of my life. Like, I have to move forward. I can't stay here. Like, and then, yeah, so this was probably early January in 2023 that this all started to come about. And like within a couple of weeks, I applied to go back to pharmacy at Charles Sturt University, got accepted, and then started my first year all over again. Thankfully, I had some credits, so that took a lot of stress off me so I could ease myself back into studying full time. But yes, so without the mentorship of a lot of amazing people around me, I would never have gone back. And I haven't thought twice about it, to be honest. Like, I threw myself into the degree. I became a student representative. So this is my third year being on the Student Representative Council, and we've made heaps of changes for the university itself. I then threw myself, I guess not into NAPSA, I threw myself at NAPSA, and then
I love that. I threw myself
at NAPSA and said, take me, guys. I'm ready to make change. So I started off as the rural health chair because I had a lot of passion in, like I said earlier, like increasing the health literacy of the communities that don't have access to health professionals on the regular basis. And so my partner and I, so he's originally from Orange, like born and bred Orange, like I think we will stay here for a while because we love this area. And as you probably heard from earlier, like I am never going back to the city, no matter what some of my friends would like me to do.
Yes.
Because a lot of my friends live in Sydney, and like catching up with them can be hard. Like it can be a little bit isolating here, even in Orange, but the skills that you develop in, like, again, from my performing arts and also from just throwing myself at things, you create a lot of friendships out here. And yeah, I really think rural is where my career is going to be. I very much look forward to seeing where my career goes now that I've just thrown myself at everything in the
Yeah,
last
no,
couple
I
of
love
years.
that.
So
That's really nice. And I think one thing that's kind of coming out of this conversation is, first of all, I love the way you say I throw myself at things, but I think that's a really good thing to do, because then sometimes you're not giving yourself a chance to think about all the things that could go wrong. Like, just do it and think about it later, which some people and sometimes it's not always best to just jump into things without thinking it through. But yeah, listening to your story and where you got to now, yeah, I think that's probably a really big part of it, like just giving it a go, even if there are maybe thoughts in your head or people that should tell you otherwise, just do it anyway. And then the other part is that mentorship and those people around you, even very early on, like your first employer that enabled you to still work in pharmacy, but then actually explore some of your passions. I think that's really important, because yeah, if you maybe didn't have that experience early on and then you felt like you had to choose one or the other and completely quit, who knows, maybe we would have been having a very different conversation today.
100%. And I agree with you. If I just finished the degree when I was supposed to finish the degree in 2016, we would be having very different conversations. And to be honest, I kind of thought when I was doing the degree back then, like, what am I working towards? Like, this degree, like, I'm working in pharmacy. This degree looks like nothing that I'm going to be doing. Like, I know it was early on in the degree, but it just felt like it wasn't actually leading me anywhere. Like, and I think where it's leading to now with this expanded scope of practice and a little bit more of awareness of what pharmacists can actually do is a little bit more enlightening, I think, for a lot more students now. Whereas I think back in the day, and that sounds so silly. It sounds so silly to say because, like, it's not that long ago, but like
For you, yes,
years
it was.
ago, like, it's still back in the day, back in my day when, yeah. So it just felt like you only had to do hospital or something clinical, or you had to go into research. Like, I remember doing organic chemistry and thinking, what? Like, what am I going to need this for? Like, I just want to talk to people. I want them to understand the medications that they're on. I want them to understand that there's help in the community for them. Like I really want
Yes.
to put that community in community pharmacist. We're not that person that people come to and just go, oh, just give me my meds. Like,
Yes.
can you point me in the right direction of where I can find the closest barber for my hair that does good haircuts? Like,
Yes, I'm
that's
laughing because we've
really
all
random,
had
but
those.
someone who knows what's going on in their community and can give recommendations. Like, there's just so much more to a community pharmacist than I think back in the day. There's that word again. There's that phrase again, was showing me. And yeah, it's just so much more exciting to be a part of pharmacy now. Yeah.
I completely agree.
Pharmacy Daily is a proud supporter of your pharmacy career podcast. If you're in the pharmacy world, it's a great resource to stay up to date with the latest industry news. To subscribe, just head to pharmacydaily.com.au to get the newsletter delivered straight to your inbox.
I think in your situation, yeah, you were able to work in some really great pharmacies that were doing some pretty cool things at the time, things that are something a bit different.
Incredibly so. Yeah.
And I think the fact that they were in rural areas, that probably helped. I had a similar, I guess, opportunity where the very first pharmacy I ever worked at in Mudgee was so far advanced in terms of scope back in that day. Like, they had a weight loss clinic and things like that. And this was pre-vaccines. Pharmacists couldn't even do vaccines. They were doing blood pressures. They were doing, all these cool things. And I thought, oh, wow, like, you can really have this huge impact on someone's life in the community. So it sounds like that you also had that similar experience. And whilst I think there are some really great pharmacies in Metro, like, I've worked in some of them in Sydney and they're amazing, but I think the opportunity to, like, if you can work rural, you really do get, that really clinical satisfaction.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's not even just a clinical satisfaction as well, too. It's also like, as humans, we are created to connect with people. So even just having a simple interaction with Mrs. Mary one day, and then your second week of placement, you have another interaction with her and you can call her by her first name, or you can even just say, oh, I saw you last week. Like, how were you after the weekend? What did you get up to? Like, you can have a bit more of a rapport, and you can, go out to the pub for dinner with your family, and then you might see so and so over there, and they might just start coming up to you and having a chat about, I don't know, your kids, their kids. Like, I know I'm very off topic of pharmacy right now, but these are the things.
No, I think it is still. It very much still is, right? Because you're the local pharmacist. People get to know you in your town or area that you live. And that is, I think, the core of community pharmacy, right? Community.
Yeah. 100%.
I also think too, I was just reflecting on some of the things that you said earlier about, especially early on in your, I would say, first degree of pharmacy. And
first trial,
and thinking there's only really 2 options or 3 options for career paths: industry, hospital, and community. But then you got to experience some other career options, I guess, within pharmacy, and perhaps also through your work with NAPSA and the student council and things like that, you also get to expose yourself to different people and see their really different careers and what they're doing. And that can be really inspiring. And it's funny, when I was doing my pharmacy degree, it wasn't my first degree, so I just wanted to get in and get it done. I didn't really care about doing any extracurricular student councils and things like that, except when I was in 4th year, because I wanted to make sure I had a voice on where we were going for the graduation dinner. So that was my motivation, not advocacy or making the world a better place. I just wanted
just
to
making
go
sure everyone got fed and
fed.
Yeah.
But then post pharmacy degree, I saw the importance of being involved early on, and then that can have a really big impact on where your career will take you. You meet so many different people. It's really inspiring. Like, I remember my first APP when I was an intern. I was like, wow, pharmacists can do so much more than what I could just see.
100%. And I like to be that person that advocates for these sorts of things. Like, I do try to work really hard at Orange to encourage students to go to NAPSA Congress, to like sign up for the Orange Student Representative Council or even their academic club. So for the pharmacy students, that's Orange Pharmacy Students Association, because that's where you can make real change, even if it is just deciding where you want to have your graduation dinner, because those skills are so valuable when it comes into going into a workplace. And something I have found out from myself, from being part of all of these clubs and managing people, I'm like, wow, I actually wouldn't mind owning my own pharmacy and managing my own team of people at some point. Like, obviously it's not going to happen straight away because finances.
Yes.
But it's something that these skills have really got me very excited about. And like, I've started to create goals of things that I want to achieve when I do become a pharmacist. And something that I didn't see coming was that business ownership. Like, definitely the first time around, my first trial, I never saw myself as doing like owning or doing. I very muchly just thought I'd be community pharmacist and just work in that.
Yep. But see, I think now, you've gone and expanded your, I guess, horizons.
Yes.
And you've grown and learned all these new skills, and learned these skills by putting yourself in, I guess, positions that might make you a little bit uncomfortable, like going and applying for ED5 and doing your audition. Like, that to me just sounds absolutely terrifying.
Oh, it was.
Give me an option to talk to thousands of people on a stage. I'd much happily do that than do an audition.
I do remember in my ED5 audition, I'm standing in the singing room with the person that's doing my audition, and it's just that person and me, and I'm singing a song after thinking that I can't really sing all that well. And like just you've gone through something difficult. So the next time you go through something difficult, it will still be a little bit difficult, but you've already passed a comfort zone of yourself, and your comfort zone just keeps expanding every time you do something out of that comfort zone, which is such a bizarre concept to think of when you, I guess, haven't really thought about it.
Yep.
Or when you're 17 and applying for all of these things, like you just kind of go, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. And then you get into something and you start doing it. You're like, wow, comfort zone, maximum, reached, panic, freak out. Like,
yes.
Yeah. And I genuinely think I don't actually have any skills as to how I developed that, like developed the things of throwing myself at something and then getting comfortable with that again. I don't know how I have technically figured that out. I think I just go in, have a panic, have a freak out. Everything's okay because I haven't died. And then that's how my thing, like my comfort zone expands.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I have any tips for any students out there, it's just throw yourself at something. You're not going to die.
Yes.
Yeah. It can be quite frightening.
Yeah, it can be. And that's the thing. And it's funny when you look at where you are now, no matter where you are in your pharmacy career, there was a point when you were maybe too scared. And then you look back and you think, oh my gosh, that wasn't even that bad.
Yes. Yeah. I very muchly remember those moments now. I remember like when I talked to someone about quitting, I was so terrified, being like, what will people think of me? Like, what will my dance teacher think of me? Like, she's told me to go and do pharmacy because like this is someone I value, right? So
yes.
She's like, go do pharmacy because you have a brain. Like, don't do dancing. There's no money in it.
Yes.
Like, well, yeah. So I was so terrified about like what she would say, what anyone would say. But I went and had those conversations anyway, and I just quit because I knew in my heart I couldn't continue at that particular point in time. But yeah, I look back now and like some of the adversities I've even gone through just in the dance industry section. Like I now own my own dance studio where I have about 15 students. Mind you, we're only doing Highland dancing. So 15 students for Highland is pretty good.
That's actually huge, especially in a rural area. Like, you should be very proud.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm so proud of my students and all that they achieve. And something that this leadership has taught me is that I want to inspire my students to be the best versions of themselves rather than having to be the best dancer out on a field in amongst 20 other dancers. Like I want them to be comfortable in their own skin so they can make these decisions of going, yep, I can do that. I can't do that. I'm not ready for that. I can quit something if I need to. Like I don't make my students feel guilty about things that they need. And that's something I hope to bring out to like all my customers as well throughout my career. Like
I think that you will. And I think that's the fact that you even now, you're still blending your passions of helping people through your pharmacy, but then also, leaving a mark on these young dancers as well, which I think is amazing. And it's funny you mentioned that you never thought that you would be a pharmacy owner, but look at you running your own business.
That's like the first step to, I won't lie, I definitely still don't know what I'm doing half the time, but like I'll come up with something and be like, oh, that will work a little bit. Let's implement that little thing for this year and see if that works. Like I actually put a feedback form out to all my parents, and to be honest, none of them filled it out.
But you tried.
But I tried. And I ask for feedback now. And like the general feedback is like, yep, you're doing great. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, do you need anything fixed? But turns out like they're happy with what I'm delivering. But like I know that I can deliver something differently, like create a plan for the day. So developing these skills with my own, like you said, with my own dance studio, like they will be transferable skills. And that's something that's also very exciting for young people, like going and doing lots of different things. Like anyone who is in the NAPSA board or the chairs or in any part of leadership at their university, those skills will be transferable and also expanded upon when you enter the industry in whatever capacity that you're entering it on.
100%. Well, Ellen, I guess now you're in your final stages of your pharmacy degree in your last year. What excites you most about the future of pharmacy?
Oh, this is a great question because I ponder about this all the time because I think for everyone it looks different, right? I think the industry, like always, has been changing and changing rapidly. So keeping up to date with everything just seems almost psychotic a little bit.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I don't know how else to phrase it, but there's always something changing. There's always new legislations coming in. 1 minute a drug's on the market, next minute it's not. 1 minute it's on the PBS, next minute it's not. So I think, like, I don't want to say that I want the industry to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I want the industry to continue doing its thing. And like, in a perfect world, it'd be great to understand and know everything all the time at any point when a customer asks you a question. But what really excites me about my career going forward, or even just the pharmacy career going forward, is just the mentorship that everybody has with each other. Like, we all become a bit of a spider web. And if you're the spider and a little bit of something gets stuck in your web up the top there, you can go up there and you can go and talk to someone that might know something about XYZ that you don't know anything about, and you can feel comfortable doing that. And I think that's something that's the most exciting thing about pharmacy, is the networking. It's getting rapport, getting friendships in different aspects of pharmacy to help everyone on their pharmacy journey. Like, we're all in this together. As someone who grew
Yes.
up with High School Musical, like, that was another initiation. Like, I just wanted to do musicals when I was a kid because, like, man, High School Musical was like, everybody's in this together.
It was. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's the most exciting thing for me. Like, I can call on anyone I need in a time of
Anytime, I guess.
anytime, really. Yeah. And I think that's the exciting part for myself and my brain, because I kind of thought I was in this by myself. Like, once I'm out working in a pharmacy and, say, for example, I'm in, Whoop Whoop, and I'm the only pharmacist there for the day, and I have one person with me throughout the day, and something's come up and I'm like, oh, crikey, I don't know what I'm doing. I can call someone, and the networking I create and the people that I meet through those networking connections will help me feel more comfortable and confident as we go on. Like, yes, of course, there's lots of other things happening in pharmacy that are so exciting, like our expanded scope of practice, our prescribing, our being able to, buy your own stethoscope and listen to people's lungs. Like, I did that on a placement once, and that was like, actually, that was a little bit daunting, because I was like, what am I hearing? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be
I
hearing.
don't even know what's.
I don't even know what's going on. Like, yeah, like, those things are exciting. And I'm really glad that we get to do that as young pharmacists now. And even if you are an older pharmacist, like, I hope you are excited about doing those things. If not, and I hope you are enjoying your career regardless, like, however you've made your career. But yeah, moving forward, I think pharmacy is going to be a very exciting career. And I do hope more people that are younger than me, well, it's not hard to be younger than me, to be honest, but more people that are coming out of high schools are more excited to try pharmacy, because there is so much you can do now, and so much that is accessible from first year to see what you can do. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. I hope that answered your question. I felt like I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but
No, absolutely. Yeah, definitely answered the question. And so my last question before we wrap up this conversation is, what's the best piece of advice you have ever received, or is there a piece of advice that you've maybe heard somewhere along the way that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Okay, I'll be honest. I've received multiple bits of advice throughout my career. Do I remember it? No. Do I feel like I have taken on board what someone has said and made it my own? Yes. If you ask me specifically what someone has said to me, I genuinely cannot tell you. All I know is through a lot of what people tell me sits inside me like a little seed, and it will just be stewed on. It'll be watered occasionally, and then the fruit of that will then turn into something that helps not just myself, but will help others as well. But if you must know one thing, you must know one thing. And I think this really resonated with me, at the NAPSA Congress recently. So 2026 NAPSA Congress. And I think this sat well with me because I do so much. If anyone knows me personally, they know that I am above my head in the amount of stuff that I do on a constant basis. And it's that you can have it all. You can do it all. You can have it all. And this came from someone from the PSA, someone who has done a lot, someone who has worked really hard to get to where she is at the moment. And I think this kind of advice really helps a lot of people when they think they can't do everything. Like if you're trying to be a mum and you're trying to study, and I know so many of those at university, they're trying to do it all. And finding those skills to be able to do it all is the most important part. Like no one's going to know you better than you know yourself. I guess that's another thing. But that's from the seed, right? Someone's told me that you can have it all. So that little seed has gone, like you know yourself better than anyone else. You can develop your skills. You can develop your like little box of things that you need to tick off to help you do the things you need to do. I think I might leave it there with that.
That's perfect.
Otherwise, I will go down a tangent.
No, I love that. And I actually think that's a perfect way to wrap up our conversation, because if we reflect on our conversation and it from all the way back to when you were making that first decision about whether or not to focus on your dance career and I guess be a university dropout.
Yes, statistic.
But you know yourself better than anyone, and you did it, right? Because you knew that this, whether or not you actually knew in the front of your mind that this was the best thing, but you just did it. You did it anyway. And I think that's kind of been with you throughout your whole career to date, and will probably stay with you as you move into the future of your career. So, Ellen, thank you so much for your time today and chatting with me. I think our listeners will definitely take a lot out of this. I know I have. And if I can just kind of wrap up what we've talked about and pull out some key themes, I think it's ensuring that you do also have, or make sure that you also follow your passions and don't just focus on just your studies, or like it's really important to have that outlet and that release, especially for mental health. And then the other thing is having, whether or not you realize it was having the confidence, but the confidence to listen to that little voice inside your head to do the things that you need to do. And even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else, it will make sense for you and your journey in the future. Because now when you look back at your career to date, every decision, it makes sense. But at the time, it might not have.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're spot on there.
Well, thank you so much, Ellen, for being a guest today. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this episode of Your Career Pharmacy podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe and share the episode with your friends and colleagues. And we also have all of Ellen's details in the show notes. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. Thank you, Ellen.
Amazing. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Your Pharmacy Career podcast, proudly sponsored by the Pharmaceutical Society of Australia. The PSA is committed to empowering pharmacists through advocacy, innovation, and industry-leading professional development. To become a member or learn more about how the PSA can support your career, visit www.psa.org.au. Don't forget to subscribe, share this podcast with your colleagues, and join us next time as we continue to explore your pharmacy career journey.